Let's start with Manchester United, shall we? They have completed the signing of Dialo from Atalanta on a 4.5-year deal. An agreement was reached between the two clubs for the 18-year-old during the last transfer window, but the move was subject to a medical, work permit and personal terms as well. The winger has the option to extend that contract, which runs until June 2025, by a further year. Well, this is what Dialo posted on his Instagram page. Let's take a look, shall we? Well, we'll take a look in just a second. Worth saying as well, his first ever Instagram post was a picture of him and Pogba. We'll take a look at that in a sec. But this was what was on his Instagram story. Already in a United shirt, in his hotel room, I think. Bit of a mess on his bed behind him. But yeah, that was his first post, his first Instagram story. And there's that post from 2015. Look how young he is there in a post with Paul Pogba. That's
Brilliant.
Very sweet. That's
Fantastic.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Mark, let's start with you, because he's been described in Italy as a generational talent. What's he like? What do we know about him?
Fantastic. Good morning, team. I thought it was a dart show today when I saw I was working with Michael and Emma.
Oh, tungsten to transfers.
That's it. Transfers indeed. I don't think you're ever going to see this on TV, and I don't think you'll probably see it again. Manchester United, Ed Woodward, take a bow. You have signed a future superstar, and I know I'm going to put a lot of pressure on the lad, but this is one player that I think Manchester United fans and fans of football across the world can get excited about. He is a huge talent, and I don't want to downplay this. And like I said, obviously he's a young lad, he's got a lot to go in terms of the future. But what an opportunity he has, and what a signing this could be by Manchester United. Let's start at the beginning. A fascinating story that's brought him to the Premier League. We won't talk about that now, but in time I'm sure there'll be people that will be talking about his journey to Italy. He comes out of the famous Atalanta Academy, where they've been producing players for Italian football and world football for in excess of 30 or 40 years. It's one of the best run football clubs in Italian football. They have an incredible setup, and they are renowned for producing young, talented players, and this is the latest player. He is quite simply a wonder kid that will be on the tips of everyone's tongues for many years to come. He's right-footed. He's probably described as a left-footed inside forward, which is basically the Mo Salah type of role. We know that most managers like to play with one up front, with the two wide men off of him. He is the type of player that could play on the right-hand side and come infield with that magic left foot. He's dynamic, he's quick, he's got outstanding balance. He also plays with maturity and personality, which is something you don't get from a young teenager. He came to prominence really at a very young age. We know that Manchester United have been watching him for many years in Italy, and he came to the table during last season's Champions League campaign, particularly in the games against Manchester City, playing for Atalanta, who were in the same group as Manchester City, the under-19 Champions League version of the main tournament. And when he's playing in a game against Manchester City and dominating and playing well, that's where people sit up and take note. It's a fascinating signing. As you can probably tell, I'm a bit excited about this one.
You're quite excited about it,
and I think Manchester United fans should get excited. The important thing to point out, he's a kid and there's a long way to go. But right now, the fact that he's in Manchester, they want him to train and being part of things immediately, shows you everything you need to know about the potential of this kid.
Well, you talk about them wanting him to be here immediately and get involved. I said a minute ago that an agreement was reached between Manchester United and Atalanta for Dialo during the last transfer window, but the move was subject to a medical, work permit and personal terms. Bridget, why do they want him now?
Well, no pressure. No pressure. I mean, look, it gives Ole Gunnar Solskjaer an opportunity to work with him now. I mean, worth remembering, as you were saying, he hasn't played much, only 37 minutes, but he scored on his debut within 6 minutes. Look, it's difficult to expect too much. However, you know, we've got to say, like, there are a lot of games coming up. United are in the Europa League this time, which means they start in the round of 32, not the round of 16. Obviously, look at potentially that to put him in the squad registration. You look at Marcus Rashford's impact in that competition, still scoring a double on his debut. And also, you've seen as well with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, no pressure whatsoever putting the young players in, like Mason Greenwood. So, well, Mark, I'm excited. Listen to what you said.
Right, but you're not the only excited people. A lot of Manchester United fans are very excited as well. He's a winger. He's 18, so as you'd expect, there has been some comparisons already between him and Cristiano Ronaldo. Mark, you're saying that fans are right to get excited then? They're not getting overexcited about these comparisons?
No, why not? You know, you have to remember, first of all, that Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in world football, and they have invested a fee which could rise to £37 million. I think that gives you an indication as to what they value him at and what they see his potential as. The fact that they're investing a huge chunk of money in someone like Michael rightly says, hasn't played a huge amount of first-team football in Serie A. So this gives you an idea of where he's at. I know everyone wants to talk about the great players, and immediately they go, well, is he like Ronaldo? Is he like Messi? Well, I think it's fair that he can be described as potential like that. Let's take a look at Cristiano Ronaldo and his impact at Manchester United when he first joined. Games played 29, minutes 1,548. Obviously the goals and the assists and the chances created. But when you remember that time, that first substitution when Sir Alex Ferguson beckoned to Ronaldo over at the bench, he was about to come onto the pitch at the Theatre of Dreams.
The spaghetti hair.
Yeah, with the. I remember that hair.
Yeah.
I wanted that hair.
Absolutely.
When you felt like the people that were in Old Trafford at that time were in the presence of a player, and this was a significant moment. This was a special moment. If there were fans at Old Trafford now, when Dialo comes onto the pitch, they would feel the same.
Interesting as well with the work permits now. We'll have to notice that with the points-based system, and he's passed.
Again, err on the side of caution because he is a young lad. But Jadon Sancho is only young himself. It was interesting to listen to Dharmesh and Kave talking about this very issue because we knew that there was a pursuit of Jadon Sancho throughout the course of the summer. There was a lot of people interested in Jadon, and obviously the fees that were attached to his name were absolutely huge. I think Diallo plays in the same kind of position as Sancho. It's quite difficult to see Manchester United spending a fee up to £37 million on Diallo and then going and spending another 120 million on Jadon Sancho, when I think Diallo potentially could be not as good now, but certainly in the future be better than Jadon Sancho. I think that's the quality that this young lad has, and you know it's difficult to not get excited, but that's what we do on the transfer show. That's what we do. We all love football, and in particular, me and Michael, we watch so many young players coming through the game in the EFL, in European football, under 23 Premier League football, and that's the future, and that's the talent that's coming down the line, and it's always good to have an eye on them, and this is one player that everyone should now be having an eye on and seeing how he develops.